to do that. So it's going to give you a message that says that we're recording. So it will ask you to allow us to record or for you to understand it. And I'm going to leave my camera off to help with bandwidth. Sometimes I'm good, sometimes it's bad here, depends on what's going on in the weather, but or just the wireless around in the area. So I'll come back on later along the way. So I want to thank you for joining us tonight. This is Kiwanis 2024 Club Leadership Education. My name is Sue Peterson, and I'm actually a member of the East Lansing Kiwanis Club and the Grand Ledge Club here in mid-Michigan. I've been a Kiwanian for a long time, I think 40 some years. Actually grew up in the Kiwanis family. So I have been responsible for leadership education over the last several years, last many years in convention stuff. And I'm going to continue this program for this week, and then we'll make sure that everyone has an opportunity to participate in this program. And we will make it available in case there's someone that wasn't able to join us right away or needs to watch it again, but we'll do that as well. So the program is being recorded, and we will go ahead and start. So Kiwanis International has developed this program this year. It's different than what it has been in the past years. There's been some updates to it, and Kiwanis International has actually added a Kiwanis 101 onto the program, which I think is great to make sure that people learn a little bit about Kiwanis and understand what the organization is about, and to give you some background. And I think that's important as a club president. Actually, it's important in every role, but we will start out with the club presidents this evening. So we'll do Kiwanis 101. I'll do a flip of a couple screens, and then we'll go to club president. If you should have questions along the way, if you would just put those in the chat, we will try to get to them at the end of the program so that we can move forward. If it's something critical, like you can, if it's pertinent at that point, go ahead and stop me. We'll try to get the question answered. There are several people on here, some past and current lieutenant governors, that will be able to help us as well. So I'm looking at Bonnie and Mark, and I'm not sure who else joined us this evening, but they're there. So since we're actually on a Zoom call, it's you'll probably, these are the basic expectations: turning off your cell phone, respecting contributions, actively listening, engaging. And then with this, we just want to make sure that we allow everyone to contribute if they wish to, but we're not going to call anybody out. And I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to call on Aaron because his name's over there for Aaron to answer a question or whatever. But I want to make sure that you understand that this is for you. And as much as we can help you along the way, please feel free to do that. So, and along the way, I'll be admitting people, so we'll keep that going. So, first part of the program is really what we're going to do today and tomorrow with the president or the secretaries, and Tuesday with the treasurers. We will be working on their roles, and then next week we'll have a program specifically for the membership chairs. But we're going to define your role, articulate the responsibilities, explore how you can contribute to retaining members for your club, recognize the importance of membership growth, and locate and use available resources. In the chat, I have put several links. There is a leadership guide that we're going to reference. There's also some other components there that we'll reference, some check sheets, and there are specific check sheets for each office. So tonight we're going to show you the president's one. I'm working with the district office to make sure that all these documents get put up on our website and that that information is shared with you so that you have that access, but we'll share that along the way. Here we go. Here's the leadership guide tonight. You'll have the leadership. This is what the leadership guide looks like. If you have this leadership guide and there have not been any major changes to it, it's the same guide that's been around the last couple of years. And when you think about it, not a whole lot changes as you're serving in a leadership role. It's really more about what the background of your club is. 3 sheets of paper, they call them for templates, but you're going to need sheets of paper that you can use. It's a lot of this information here you'll be able to use with your club. The club membership planning document, the president and membership chair, again, I will make sure that it's back in the chat for you in a few minutes. And then we don't have any additional provided materials for you. These are the ones that are there. Again, you can make copies of all these. If you have the leadership guide from the last couple of years, you can still use that. You're going to be able to access the club leadership guide at www.kiwanis.org/leadership guide. And again, you can access the club Achieving Club Excellence, or what we call the ACE tools, at the ACE tool points. And anybody can get to that information. It's not restricted to any Kiwanis member or leader. Those information sheets are available for everyone. And yes, you will get a copy of this PowerPoint deck as well. So we will make sure that you have all this information, so you have your resources to go back and forth. And I will remind you again at the end, but I am always available, as our lieutenant governors in the district office, to help you. So if you need help along the way, you'll have my contact information at the end, and we will go from there. So we asked you earlier to put your name and your Kiwanis Club in the chat box. If you have not done that yet, please do so that I have record of your attendance, because I will put this in your Kiwanis International dashboard to show that you attended tonight's training program. If you are on a phone and aren't able to do that, we will get you at the end, if because you probably can't jump in the chat right now, but this information is there. We will get that. So your name and Kiwanis Club name is important for us. If you haven't already added it in there, we'll make the recording available within 48 hours. And I will send an email to the group that we have started for Club Leadership Education. And you will receive an email with the link to access this recording. And again, we'll submit your attendance to this program. If you should have another member of your club take this or any of these education programs via the recording after we put them back up, they're going to need to let me know, so that we can get your club the credit for attending that, because there's no way for me to record that if they go back and watch it, because there won't be a chat, because it will be the recording. So critical for you along the way to make sure that information is provided to us, so that we have it for your records for your education program. So questions during the presentation. If you have questions, let's just put them in the chat along the way. We will get to them again at the end, or we'll answer them throughout the program. We kind of booked 90 minutes. I don't expect it will take 90 minutes, but I'm going to tell you that if it takes 90 minutes and you have questions, I don't want anyone to feel like they have to jump off, or we're just going to shut it down because the time is up. Please feel free that you get your questions answered. And then if there's something that's kind of off topic, we'll just put that for later. So the first thing we want to do is share a message from Lee Kwan Young. Kwan Young is the incoming president for Kiwanis International, and I am going to play his welcome, hopefully. Play, let's see here. See, this is the stuff we worry about. There we go.
Hello, club leaders. Congratulations on your new leadership position. This is a pivotal time for Kiwanis International, and our clubs are the heart and soul of our organization. We need enthusiastic and engaged leaders to motivate our existing members and bring new faces and ideas into our organization. As you take on new responsibilities and develop your own goals for your club, we will support you with the latest resources to help you be successful in your role. Take advantage of not only the training, but the leaders in your club, division, and district to help support you in this role. They are available to answer questions and encourage you to cultivate your ideas and put them into action. Lead by example to set the tone and expectations for the members of your club. They are your assets and ambassadors. You want to prepare them for success to result in membership growth, more opportunity for kids, and a more significant Kiwanis impact in your community. I look forward to serving with you as we continue to work through the challenges and opportunities that shape the future of Kiwanis. Thank you for your dedication and continued service to our great organization.
Kwan Young will actually be with us on one of our Thursday night Voices of Service programs in August to talk to the members and to answer any questions you may have and to introduce what his plans are for the coming year. Of course, he will be at the Kiwanis International Convention in Denver. And I actually served with Kwan Young when he was a governor of Malaysia, when they were a founding district back in 2014, 15, 16, or excuse me, 2001, 2002. So he was very instrumental in that and has served. He did serve on the board as an international trustee for several years, and then he needed to step back because of his employee with work and stuff, and then he jumped back on and ran for office and was elected last year, so or 2 years ago. So we're excited to have Kwan Young as our leader for 2024, 25. So let's talk a little bit about the Kiwanis basics of Kiwanis 101. And oftentimes this is the stuff that we don't share with our members, not because we don't want to, do we just forget about it? And we also know that if you're a member who's been around for a while, you kind of know these, but it's always a great reminder to talk about what our mission is and our vision. And we all know that our motto is serving the children of the world. Our defining statement is that we're a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world one child and one community at a time, with our vision state being that we will be a positive influence in communities worldwide so that one day all children will wake up in communities that believe in them, nurture them, and provide the support that they need. So the core focus of our organization, serving the children of the world, and many of you may remember We Build, which was a motto many, many years ago, but truly talks about the fact that we are here to improve the world one child and one community at a time. Club leadership structure. Many of you, as club presidents or president-elects on the board tonight, or our lieutenant governor teams, there are members at the club level. The club is actually the member of Kiwanis International. You are a member of a club, but the club is a member of Kiwanis International. So through Kiwanis International, through a club, your club, whether it's Utica Shelby Township or Albion or Grass Lake or East Lansing, has a club president, a president-elect, a secretary, a treasurer, a board of directors. Some people combine the secretary treasurer, some people have a vice president, but those are options that your club has along the way. Your division is your lieutenant governor, and I know there are two lieutenant governors on tonight, and I apologize if there are others because I only saw the two names when I first jumped on here, but Mark Ott and Bonnie Bartlett is with us. Oh, and Nancy Member, who is a past lieutenant governor. There may be some other past lieutenant governors on here as well. So the lieutenant governor serves your club as a division leader. So there are 17 divisions in the Michigan district, and you are a member of one of those divisions, or your club is a member of one of those divisions. And of course, you have a lieutenant governor that leads that position. I will tell you, and I'm going to say now, that's truly the best job in Kiwanis International. I loved it. But I also enjoyed being a club officer and a club president because of the impact and the ability that you have to work with other members in your club. At the district level, which is the state level in a way, you have a governor-elect. You may have a secretary, a treasurer, district chairs. In Michigan, we have an executive director who plays the role of the secretary and the treasurer, who maintains both of those roles. And we have an administrative assistant in our office with Stacy. Kiwanis International has an international board, which members serve on. And we've had some information out about the elections that will take place in Denver. But there's a president-elect, a vice president, an immediate past president, and there are trustees that serve on the board as well. And those individuals are elected by the entire delegation at the Kiwanis International Convention, and which this year will be in Denver. So in Michigan, we are Michigan District. We are the birthplace of Kiwanis. It all started in Detroit in 1915. There will be a celebration next year for 110 years of organization age. I guess the best way to put it. We are 110 years old. We did have a celebration, which it's hard to believe, over 10 years ago to celebrate our 100th anniversary, but we're one of few organizations. Rotary is also an organization that has served more than 100 years, and to think that the work that we do and the service that we provide to our members is what we need to do. It's longstanding. Our communities and the work that is out there, there's plenty for us to do. The Michigan District is composed of the Lower Peninsula and 5 counties in the Upper Peninsula, which are right above the Mackinac Bridge. So there are 5 counties up there. We've had a couple clubs. The rest of the Upper Peninsula belongs to Wisconsin, Wisconsin, Upper Michigan. That's why you'll hear that. Many years ago when that was put together, I couldn't tell you why it was divided that way, but we are part of the upper and the lower. So when you see our logo, a lot of times you'll see our logo with the 5, just a small portion of the Upper Peninsula. So we claim the bridge. How's that for you? 17 divisions in the Michigan district, and I hope that you know which division you're a part of. There are 17 divisions that basically Division 1, 2, 3. Division 1 is the Detroit area. Division 2, Colonial Plymouth Dearborn. Division 3, Utica Shelby Bay Area, Blue Water for Huron. Division 5, Allen Park in those areas. 6 is the Ann Arbor area. 7 is Metro Detroit. 10, Saginaw, Bay City, Mount Pleasant. 11, Addison, Hillsdale, Hudson, Jackson. And I know there's a number of people from 11 here tonight. 12, Battle Creek area, Coldwater. 13, Kalamazoo-ish. 14 has some Grand Rapids Club, Hastings, Muskegon. 16 and 18 pretty much compose the mid-Michigan area. 17, Flint, Burton, Davison, Holly. 18, 20, and 21 are basically the upper part of what most people consider when you say you go north, right? Houghton Lake, Standish, Tawas, Harbor Springs, Traverse City, Alpena. So pretty much everything in northern Michigan. So I hope you know which division you're in. If not, there is a directory, and if we can get you that information, we would be happy to share that with you. Who's who? Our current governor is Renee Callery. Renee is from the Dearborn Club, and she will serve with us through the end of September. October 1, our district governor-elect is Frank Palazzolo. Frank will take his role October 1. Our district secretary or our executive director, Greg Smith, is from the Utica Shelby Township Club, and he will, our office is located in Mason, Michigan, just south of Lansing. So he has an office. We have a district office there, and he is there or in his Utica Shelby area. And again, Stacy's in our office as well, and she works more afternoons and evenings, and then on the weekends. But you'll see her doing a lot of our administrative work. And then, of course, the question is, who is your lieutenant governor? And I'm hoping that by virtue of you being here, that you have met your lieutenant governor or have seen that individual visiting your club. And I know that those that are on our past lieutenant governors that are here are very active with their clubs. And the biggest role that they have for you is to provide you assistance in what you need to do your job and to help your club out. That is their core mission, is to provide that service to you as a member, as a club. So in 1924, the Kiwanis objects were adopted, and we will be celebrating those in Denver this year, the 100th anniversary of them. They have withstood the test of time over what we do to give primacy to human and spiritual rather than material values of life, to encourage the daily living of the golden rule, to promote the adoption and the application of higher social, business, and professional standards, to develop by precept an example of more intelligent, aggressive, and serviceable citizenship, to provide through Kiwanis clubs a practical means to form enduring friendships, to render altruistic service and to build better communities, to cooperate in creating and maintaining that sound public opinion and high idealism, which makes possible the increase of righteousness, justice, patriotism, and goodwill. At our Kiwanis 1 sessions, if you were able to join us, we did have one of our breakout sessions, and the first session was to talk about what these objects meant to our members. I will say there have been several times when people have come up to try to change them because they would go through the House of Delegates to have that changed. And I will tell you that every time they've been voted down. And I think it's a tribute to our founding members of Kiwanis who went back 100 years ago and put these in place back in 1924 to know that this is who we still are and what we stand for as an organization. So it might be a good idea for you as a club officer to have a program to talk about the objects. What do they mean? And, when you sit down and really think about them, how can they help you as a club move forward? We also have a Kiwanis strategic plan that is established at Kiwanis International, and a lot of our clubs have built plans off of this as well as the district. There are 5 legs to our plan. 1 is membership and engagement. 2 is leadership and education. 3 is community impact. 4 is financial viability, and 5 is branding and image. And these legs are what support us and how we move forward in doing our business as a Kiwanis organization. Of course, we need members and we need members to be engaged. It's very important for our members that we provide leadership and education for them along the way, because a lot of our members, these are great leadership opportunities for them to develop their skills to help them in their professional life, or to use them through Kiwanis. Community impact, providing meaningful service. That's why, the majority of us join Kiwanis, is to provide service to our community and to have an opportunity for us to share what we have with others who may not have. Financial viability, of course, ensuring the viability and the responsible stewardship of the money that we raise for the projects that we do, and or the finances that operate our organization. And of course, branding and image, which is always very important, because when we go into a town or a community, if you see the Kiwanis logo, that tells you there is a Kiwanis club in that community. And the fact of keeping all that stuff consistent, as I like to say, McDonald's and Nike, you can go wherever and it's McDonald's or a Nike store. Or if you're looking at a car store like Kia or Ford, they're all the same brand, which allows them to be recognizable, which is what we our goal is with Kiwanis, is that we're recognized for the work that we're doing. As I said today, when I was doing my volunteer work with my own club, someone goes, "Oh, Kiwanis, you're the kids group." So they knew exactly who we were and what we were doing. So one of the things that we'll do as we go through our program today is, how can you help your club focus on the priorities laid out by the strategic plan? So as we go back to the 5 components: membership and engagement, leadership and education, community impact, financial viability, branding, and image, how can those help your club? If your club does not have a strategic plan, that might be a great way to start. And you don't need to start all big and fancy. Maybe you take one leg of that meeting. Maybe you have there is information in here about having a president's conference where you sit and talk about how you're doing and what you would like to do, which also gives you an opportunity as a club to decide what your focus is moving forward. So we will talk a little bit about the priorities for the strategic plan, and I'm going to stop this share so I can switch screens. And if anybody has any questions along the way, I would be happy to answer them while I switch out on our screens and figure out why I had that big red line on my program. All right. So any questions you might have out there? And I think this is actually a great program if your club would like to use this as part of their education of your members. One of the things that we find that when we talk to members who don't stay with Kiwanis is they really don't have any kind of education or know what Kiwanis is about. And they're just not sure, the organization they belong to, what the focus is, because they don't have that education material information. All right, let's see if I can share our next screen. I know that there are no videos in the next screen, so we're good there. Club presidents. Okay, you should do a slideshow here. There we go. Okay, so club leadership education tonight, we're going to talk about club presidents. And I like to tell people that it doesn't matter whether you are a club president, we're a club president, want to be a club president. This information is helpful for anyone that is looking to learn more about Kiwanis, but also to understand the role, and by the other members of your board attending the other sessions, is putting it all together. So in the leadership guide, which I talked about earlier, this is actually the president's section, the first page of the president's section, just to give you that. So as the president of your club, you are the chief executive officer. And we like to say that it can stand for a chief experience officer, a chief expansion officer, a chief empowerment officer, but things that you can do as the CEO of your club. Now, we typically don't run around and say, "Oh, I'm the CEO of my Kiwanis club." But in the work that you're doing, that's truly who you are, is the individual to keep your club going and to provide the opportunity for your other members. So let's talk a little bit about these roles in this regard. This is a updated program. So when you have the chief experience officer, um, you have the primary responsibility as the club president to make sure that your club members have a positive Kiwanis experience. You want them to be able to share what they're doing and talk about Kiwanis in ways that encourage others to join you. So ways that you can do that are to lead meaningful meetings. And you're going to be responsible as the president to lead those meetings. And we're talking both club meetings and board meetings. And it's important that you show that we value our members' times, starting on time, ending on time, not, I like to say not having run-on speakers, but making sure that we're providing the respect to our members who are giving us of their time to be there, whether it's, at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock at night, or it's during the middle of the day. So regardless of how frequently you meet, whether you meet once a week, whether you meet twice a month, whether you meet once a month, it's important that you and your members are getting information from attending. From attending that meeting. They're attending it and getting something that they can take of value back with them. And this can be achieved by having engaging speakers, whether you're working on a project, you're planning the task for a project, you're planning activities or social, and again, starting and ending the meeting on time. So these are all areas that you can keep focused on. Actively engaging your club members. One thing we often hear is that reason members leave Kiwanis is because they don't feel that they had a role or that they were engaged enough. And when people say to me, the club's not doing enough, so I didn't feel I could do something, that's when I started thinking, okay, what is a club doing? But members like to be engaged. They like to build a relationship with other members. And one of the things you can do is to find out why they joined Kiwanis. What are they passionate about? What would they like to do? What are their talents? Are they an organizer? Can they pull projects together, or can they partner and bring other groups to your club to help you? But ways that help your club and with the roles and tasks of what you're doing, things that will be significant for them. We want to make sure that our members feel like they're valued and their time and their talent is well used while they're there, so that they can feel like they're making a contribution to your club and the community. And it's really critical with this component, especially for our new members, because of the fact that they want to be engaged. And we've had some members, I can speak in my own club. One of the members of our members that's most active has been in our club just over a year, and she has undertaken 3 of our biggest projects and got new projects to our club. And we're like, people are like, well, but we haven't. We're like, what? Here's an individual who wants to do something. If your club can do it and you can support it, let's do that. And it has really changed some of the attitude and the atmosphere of our club, because people are excited about doing other things. Focusing on relevancy. Just because your club has been doing stuff the same way or the same project for many years doesn't mean that you have to keep it. One of the things that's important to do is to evaluate your club operations and determine if that's something your club wants to continue to fulfill. One thing I always encourage our clubs to do a lot of is to say, okay, we've been doing a chicken barbecue for the last 25 years. Is that something that's still relevant to what we're doing, or are we putting a lot of labor and time into that for something that's not of much benefit to our community or our clubs? I've heard of clubs that are still writing the same checks to the same organizations they wrote to 30 years ago. And those organizations have now just put that into their budget because they know Kiwanis is going to write them a check. But is that really what you want to do? And sometimes that's tied to members that it may have been with you and were very active 20 or 30 years ago, may not even be involved in the organization anymore. But make sure that it's still relevant to what you're doing. And over the last 3 years, we've had a change in what's relevant to our communities and what we're providing after the pandemic. Creating an inclusive environment. We want all of our members to feel like their Kiwanis Club is a place for them to be and a place where they can feel at home. We want to make sure that our community members feel like they can join and serve right alongside our peers. And it's important for you to think about the current practices you have that might be a deterrent to something that's joining your club or making someone feel out of place. In this global world that we have, there's a lot of great people out there, and we need to make sure that we're welcoming for everyone because there's no reason not to. And we want to make sure that we are welcoming members and that any traditions that we're doing might be able to be adjusted to create a more welcoming environment. There are a lot of things that we do in our club, and there may be things that have happened in the past that someone remembers, and well, that's what our Kiwanis Club is, and that's who we are. Well, today's world, with the globalness and the cultures, we need to make sure that we're acknowledging that for all of our members because we want to learn, and it's a great way for us to involve other members who may have an area of focus in their community that we're not actually meeting because we don't understand what they're doing. So one of the ways that you can do that is through using the ACE Club Excellence tools, the ACE tools. They have many tools in those many resources there that can help you improve your club members' experience, which is truly what it's all about because that's what you want to keep them and you want to keep them involved. And we'll explore a little bit more of that coming forward. So our Chief Expansion Officer, and I know we're all thinking there, right? Well, that's membership. Well, we're right. We each have a responsibility to increase the membership of our club. And it's really not just your club membership chair's role, it's actually the role of every member. And part of that goes to retaining our members and keeping them active, but also recruiting new members to join our club because everyone has new ideas. And yes, as we grow older and our lives change, careers change, we are going to have members that leave us or it doesn't fit their plan anymore. But those are things that all can be worked on through your club membership and working with your club chairs. Because reality is, an average member of a Kiwanis provides 209 hours of service a year. And if you think about the fact that if you had one or two more members, how much more service you could provide your community in that commitment to providing those individuals. There are several tools out there that we'll chat a little bit later about, but tools out there that are available for you to use. And I know there are several members on the call tonight that work with clubs for growth and membership and that commitment to grow. And what's really important is for everyone to understand is that it does take like you say, it takes a village. It takes the entire club to do that work. It's not a one person job. We have brought in 4 new members in my club this year, partly because of a new service project that we started, but it's not been just, the club membership person doing that work. It takes everybody. And it really takes, you'll have clubs that'll be like, well, we're big enough. We don't want to do anymore. And, we don't need to do that. Well, more hands-on service is what we need, and more club members means more hands-on service. So any way that you can do that, and talk about it at once a month meeting, or talk about it for plan a few minutes in your program, or have the information. If you have a newsletter, put in the newsletter. But just ways for you and your club to engage new members. Whether you go out and do a club boost day, as we call it, where you go out and invite members to join you, or you do a community project and ask you to come to work at that event. There's a lot of opportunities out there to grow our clubs. And I think it's critical in any organization, as you'll see that, membership dwindles every year, but it's not just Kiwanis, it's not just Rotary, it's not just Lions, it's every organization, churches and golf clubs and country clubs that are having those differences. So what can you do as a Kiwanis club to make sure that your club is welcoming and that people want to spend time with your club and get engaged and involved? And it doesn't mean that they have to be at every event or everything they're doing, but you may have a couple members that only can work on certain events, right? It's all about engaging them for what is important to them. So again, the club membership plan template toolkit, which is some new information that Kiwanis International has just released, Kiwanis.org club toolbox, that information is there. And again, we'll make sure you have all these links. So the third role of a club president is the empowerment officer. What that means is you encouraging them to take on leadership roles, to invite them to events, or to ask you with a brainstorming session, or things that you can help them as ways to inspire your members. Whatever way you can do that, everyone has ideas that they can bring forward, and it's a matter of just putting them to action. Whether you're a person that does an attaboy or an attagirl, or you recognize a member with a certificate of appreciation, or whatever manner, birthdays and anniversaries, any way that you can do that. So, for the components of being the chief empowerment officer, that we like to talk about is delegating. You cannot run your club alone, and you do not want to run your club alone. You need help, and luckily there are people in your club that are willing to help you out and to do that. Um, Most members that join Kiwanis, or people that join Kiwanis, are looking to provide back to their community and are willing to take on a role. Sometimes they're not willing to do it, right away. They may want some time, which is okay. But sometimes they may just need time to figure out where they're at. And people like to be asked to do things. But the other component of that is if you stand up in front of the room and say, "Hey, we need a new president next year," not everyone's going to jump and put their hand up, right? But you may have someone that comes up to you afterwards and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm actually interested in that. How might we make that work?" So you kind of learn the personalities of your clubs and the members and the way that things are important to them. Um, People don't need to hold a formal role in Kiwanis, but people do want to help out, and that's a way to do that. Utilize committees. Again, as a president or an officer, you can't do everything alone. Ensure that your club has committees and you're using them. And I know people often say, "Well, so and so has this committee or so and so has that committee." We invite every one of our new members to sit on a committee. Where's your interest? What would you like to do? What would you like to learn more about? So whether it's a big club project, or you have a formal committee or an informal committee, sometimes a committee can just be an informal because you have a quick project to do, or maybe something that you do every year, like a pancake breakfast, and you have a committee that's very formal. But what's important for us to remember is that we have to be trusting of our committees and our members to let them do their job. Um, just because you're the club president, yes, you can get reports and yes, you can provide input, but let those individuals that are running that committee do the work that they need to do. And what's important is let them be creative with it. Just because you may have tried that 40 years ago or 2 months ago doesn't mean that it may not work if someone wants to touch it a different way. And it's important that we support their efforts and what they're doing. Third, building relationships. I like to say that one of the biggest things we do in Kiwanis is to build relationships and to build partnerships and to do networking. Empowering our members of our clubs is a way to get to know them and find out what their interests are. Why did they join Kiwanis? What is there for them to be engaged? How would they like to be engaged? Whether it's a very intentional way or it's another way to help them out. Sometimes members like to just say, "Hey, just put me on whatever committee you need me on," right? They're willing to learn about anything, and you can put them there and they may flourish there, and they may come back to you and say, "You know what? I don't want anything to do with that committee." But that's a way of learning for them to learn what they're doing. You can ask them to take charge of something, whether it's as big as sending out the birthday cards for the month or the anniversary cards for the month. Any little thing that you can do with members to build those relationships, and to the point of them building relationships outside of their community or outside of their club. Do they know the mayor? Do they know the police chief? Do they know the director of literacy in town, that they may be able to help you? So relationship building is very important to what we do, and I think that's one of the biggest uh, aspects of our organization we have. And then, of course, the last thing I think is very important, and we often forget to do this, is to celebrate and recognize. Understanding who your members are and how they like to be recognized. There are some members that if you put me in front of that room and you call my name out and you give me a certificate or you thank me for something, I'm just not going to be there. There are other members that's what they want. They want to be called in front of the room. They want to get that recognition. It's learning that component of it, but it's also part of a process of making sure your clubs and your members understand, and you and the board and the president and the officers understand that recognition is important. If they don't want it, publicly, they may appreciate a handwritten note in the mail that said, hey, Bonnie, thank you so much for the great job you did on that project. I just want to make sure we recognize you and we thank you for the work that you're doing. A handwritten note nowadays is people love handwritten notes. I do a lot of them, and I often hear from people like that. You know what? I just haven't seen a handwritten note in so long. But sometimes it's a text. Hey, thanks for the great job you did on the softball tournament today. Everyone takes it differently. I think that the important thing to remember is that truly people just want to be recognized, and there's a lot of way to do that. If you are, you can Google club recognition or member recognition. There are many, many ways to do that, and it can be with a candy bar, it can be with a gift card, it can be with just a note. It just can be a piece of paper that says thanks for a job well done. There's ways to do that and to recognize our members. And there's another way that I like to encourage people is if you have someone that may be a younger member that maybe newer starting out in your club or have just graduated from college or in that perspective, even a note to their supervisor that says, hey, thank you for letting Terry join us on Mondays for lunch. We appreciate the opportunity that she has to be with us. What she provides to us is great because that helps with her and her relationship and her work, but it also gives her employer to know that, hey, they're doing a great job. Thank that person for what we're doing. So leading by example is the biggest thing we got. Show up, walk the talk, listen, be willing to put in time. It's a great responsibility and a way of being a club president. If you're encouraging your members to be there, if you can be there, that's the great way to do it. And sometimes, maybe showing up for an hour at the beginning or an hour at the end, but what a great way to engage so that, if I always say, if I'm asking my club members to do that, or I'm asking someone to do that, I want to be able to say that I can do that as well. So if you're going to ask them to make a donation to your project, will they be willing to make a donation as well? All right, I see a chat question here. Let's see here. What is the title? What is the Voices of Kiwanis? Thank you, Brian, or Bryn. Bryn. Thank you for asking that question. On Thursday nights, several years ago, I started a program during COVID because I have Kiwanis friends around the world. And I wanted to be able to stay in touch with my friends around the world. And I started a program, it's called Kiwanis Let's Talk at the time, where I invited members to join with me on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time on a Zoom call. And I would bring in different speakers, whether it was someone that talked about Kiwanis or someone that talked about leadership. This year, the Voices of Service is the new name as we transitioned it. It is a program that's held every Thursday night. When my work schedule allows me, I travel a lot, so when I'm in town. But what we did like this 2 weeks ago was we invited the Kiwanis International Executive Director to come in and talk about how the House of Delegates was going to be run. This coming week, for those of you that don't know me, I work for Michigan State University for the alumni office, and I have talked with Will Tiemann, who's the voice of the Michigan State University Spartans men's basketball team. So he does all the broadcasting for the team when they're out and about, when they're playing, and he's going to come in and talk about what it's like to work with the college basketball team and what it's like to work with Coach Izzo. And he's going to be there to answer questions about what he does in that regard. So we try to bring all kinds of different speakers, and then what we do is we record all of them. And we have a YouTube page, and I'll put that link in when I send out the information for this program. It's a YouTube program called Voices of Service with Sue P. Sue P is a long time name that I've been tagged with because people can never spell my last name. But we will make sure we get that information out to you. We do a registration form because our goal is that we don't want just anybody to sign on, just so we don't get into any kind of people posting the inappropriate stuff. So it's a closed link, but it's also a link that we use for a lot of events. So we'll make sure we give you that link. We've got Will be with us this week. The next couple of weeks, we're going to bring all the candidates back for the Kiwanis International Board and allow them to talk about what's going on. And then we'll bring in, I brought in authors before. I've brought in people that I know that are involved in fundraising, or whether they, they run tournaments, but things that, you know, people don't have access to. Like I have worked with Kent Keith, who wrote the Paradoxical Commandments. There's a friend of mine, which are often the ones that are attributed to Mother Teresa, that says people are going to be mean to you, be nice to them anyway. People are going to do X, Y, Z, do this anyway. He's a friend of mine that wrote those when he was a student at Stanford, and he's come on and talked to us. So I bring all kinds of people on. I bring people on from our Kiwanis districts in Malaysia and in Taiwan, just to share what it's like to be a Kiwanis in Taiwan, or to share what it's like to be a Kiwanis in Australia. We have a couple of members that join us every Friday morning because it's Friday morning for them at 9 a.m. And they come in and join us on Friday mornings to talk about what's going on in Australia, and whether it's talking about the history or whatever we can do, we bring it all together. So we'll make sure you get that information. That's a great question. Okay, so key resources. Again, we mentioned key resources. These are the resources that are available to you: the leadership guide, the club president website, the club toolbox website, the club president annual checklist, the Achieving Club Excellence or ACE tools, 3 sheets of paper, and the youth protection guidelines. Those are key components of your role as a club president. We'll make sure we put those back in the links back in the chat earlier, and then I'll also make sure you get those links in the final email that I send out with all the information on this one. So in the leadership guide, there is plenty of information for you. The great thing about this book is that it includes the president, the secretary, the treasurer, and the membership chair section. So everything, where we used to have one book for every position, now it's all combined into, instead of 5 books, we have one book, the leadership guide, which is great for anyone who may be interested in serving in other roles, or if you're interested in being a lieutenant governor or a governor. That information is all in there. I like to take, I often find that when we distribute these at sessions, people are like, oh, well, we have the 3 that we got last year are still sitting in my closet, or, oh yeah, those are the ones that are in my car. I didn't know what to do with them. I actually give this leadership guide because as education chair, I had plenty of them. I actually give this to my new members. And several of the members that I've given it to have said, you know what, that was the best piece of education you could have given me, because they said, I can read this on my time. So when I put the kids to bed at night, if I need something to read, I can read it. And we're like, well, don't let it put you to sleep, but it's an opportunity for them to learn at their pace. And you can also print this off. You can send the link to your members and say, hey, here's the leadership guide, but it has all kinds of resources in it. There's information about recruitment. There's information about retention, keeping your club relevant and what you're doing along the way. So great guidebook. I always carry mine with me. In fact, I still carry it with me in my one of my backpacks, because I never know when someone's looking for information, or I just hand it out to someone. Actually, a lot of times I just give it away because someone else is looking for it. So great opportunity. There's some great resources there, and I encourage you to take the time to go through it and look through it. You don't need to look at all at once, but take some time to do that. There is actually a website for the club presidents. This is a fairly new development. Kiwanis.org president, the leadership guide link, which you'll have there, the monthly checklist, what it takes to be a distinguished club, a distinguished officer, club bylaws, the ACE tools, background check information. So all of this that's here on the website is all linked for quicker access, and separate links so that you can get to it quicker if you're looking for something in specific. I will tell you that one of the best ways you can, if you're looking for something for Kiwanis, is actually to Google. Sometimes our webpage can be a little cumbersome, and Kiwanis International knows I say that, so don't worry about it. Can be a little cumbersome. So if you just go to Google and say, I'm looking for Kiwanis Leadership Guide, it'll take you right there. Or if you're looking Kiwanis ACE Tool, it'll take you right there. So that information is there. There are a lot of resources, and it can become it can be overwhelming. It is overwhelming. Club Toolbox website, again, another link here, but sample growth tools, including tools for how to put a membership plan together, what to think about, letters if you're going to do a mass campaign that way, letters to sample letters, sample media releases, One of the things I learned by working with our local media here in the mid-Michigan area is that they told us, they said, you know what, if you send us the same media release 4 or 5 times, we don't care, because if we get to Saturday and we have nothing to do and there's nothing really going on in our community, they're like, we're going to remember that you sent that media release and we may send a crew there. So keeping the media informed of what's going on is a great thing to do. We actually have in our club, one of our members has a huge list, a big email list, and we send everything to everybody, because you never know when someone's going to need something or someone's going to, pick it up or understand that. Again, a great thing there is to invite your local media to your club, or put them on your newsletter list. Ours are on our newsletter list. That way they get our newsletter every week, with everything that's going on, and they can, because our calendars are there, it can keep us going. Club member committee resources, for your committees to do things, digital marketing support. There's some great information in there if your club is a Facebook club or you'd like to use Facebook, on how to run a Facebook campaign, or how to invite members to Facebook, or how to boost a post. There's some great, one pagers or two pagers that give you that information along the way. And it's all there. And the one thing I would say is that the other thing that's important for everyone to know is you can always call Kiwanis International, and member services department, and they will help you with anything. Whatever you need, you've got questions about something, they are very good about that. That's what they're there for. So this club president annual checklist, which you're going to see is very lightly blue and gold on the right hand side here, but it is at this link, kind of gives you an outline of calendar of things to do each month. Many times years ago, this used to be wrapped into the leadership guide, which is why they took it out, because it kind of outdated the book really quickly. But what are the key dates? What are the things that you should be working on? Right now, we're talking about club leadership classes. Is your club, as club president, are you going to hold a club planning conference? And it doesn't need to be anything super fancy, but are you going to get together for a couple hours or take one of your meetings and talk about what you want to do next year? How can you involve your club members? Sit down and talk with the current members or past members. Make plans to attend your district conventions, but things that are happening along the way. And of course, your lieutenant governor can always help you with this as well. But when there are deadlines, when are dues payments due, when are your payments, or when are your club election results, which were due June 1st. When is that stuff there, and when should you be working on your committees? And our goal with this program, my goal always is to get this done as early as we can, because starting now in June to be ready for October sometimes, isn't quite enough time to do that. Club excellence tools. I talked about the club excellence tools that are out there for you. Achieving club excellence. There are many tools out there, including community surveys, to talk to your local community about what does the community need, talking to the school superintendent or the police chief, or any other business in town. What do they see as the needs of your community? There's a survey for the membership. What do the members think is needed? So there's a lot of tools out there for you to use. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, but here's some options here. So I mentioned the club community survey and membership survey. The community survey actually provides a step-by-step way for you to help gather data about your community. Talking to people in the know, talking to people that work with, any partnerships, or what are the possibilities for expansion. The membership survey helps clubs, helps evaluate how your club is meeting their member expectations. A lot of clubs actually develop their own using some of those questions, and they may do it on SurveyMonkey or Qualtrics, or they may hand it out on a piece of paper, finding out what your club, your members are interested in doing. So what's important to them about the club's relevancy and going. And I will share a quick story here. One of our new members of our club, as soon as she got the master list of all the members of our club, she actually called every Kiwanis member in the club, 35 of them, and asked them why they were a member and what was important to them, and what could she learn from them, and what could she do. And she said, and she's a realtor by trade, so she said, I don't have any trouble picking up the phone and talking to people. But she asked them, she even asked them, she said, oh, I haven't never met you. Why haven't you been to the club meeting? I mean, she's like, let me find out what's going on. So that was a great, she's the first person I've ever known that's done that, but I thought, what a great opportunity to do that. I know of club presidents that will call other members just to find out, how they're doing and what can change. If there's some people rather have that one-on-one conversation. Some more of the ACE tools talk about what your purpose and your vision is. What kind of service does your club want to do? Why does it exist? What do you want to work towards? We talk about serving the children of the world. We all serve the children of the world in different ways in our community. But what would make members enthusiastic to get involved? And what would they do? I can tell you that our club provides book vending machines. We've been doing that now. We just started that project about in January, and it has re-engaged our club, and we've actually had new members join our club because of the work that they saw with the book vending machine. But they were so excited about doing something that would have a purpose, and our kids got excited about it, and the children in the schools. Analyzing the gap. What are ways to look at what are best ways to serve your club using the resources that you have? Helping your club members develop partnership. Sometimes I say, we don't always need to throw the party. Sometimes we just need to be at the party. So if the local Rotary Club or the Lions Club is doing a big event, maybe there's a way that you can help get engaged with them. You don't need to throw it. Maybe there's just a way that you can help them be there, help them provide support. And I would doubt that there would be many clubs that would turn down your volunteer service. But what a better way to say, yes, the Rotary, the Lions, and Zanta, we actually Kiwanis put this project on, showing that we're together in a community because we value each other and what we're doing along the way. Planning your course. Planning for a year. I will tell you that the best clubs and the best officers and the best run activities are clubs that plan. And it may be that you plan 6 months in advance or you plan a year in advance. Sometimes, depends on what your project is, but making sure that your club knows what's coming up down the road. We're going to be doing this project and this project, and yes, we're going to put another book vending machine in. We're going to do that in September, but this is what we need to do in the meantime so people know what's happening. And clubs that really want to get things accomplished, that's what they want to do. They put things in writing and they move things along the way. My club has a goal of 12 new members. We're working on how we're going to get to those 12 new members this year. We have 4. But we also know that this is a great time for our club and activity wise that people want to see what's going on. So we may engage them at this point. A strategic plan can help that, whether it's how are we going to get our club branded? How are we going to get our club out there in the news? Those are the things that, you have along the way. And it never hurts to ask other people to help to do that stuff, whether it's a partner or a spouse or I'm lucky because I live in a town where there's several universities and schools. We go to them, to the schools, and say, hey, is there something there? Is there a program at one of your schools that would help us write a strategic plan? The students can get credit for it. So things like that we don't often think about because we kind of keep ourselves focused in our own area. But we've had several classes at Michigan State help our club, work on branding and work on not so much as the brand itself, but how do we communicate that and how do we get that out there? Your club excellence plan. Let's see, did I get that one? Yep, that's where I'm at. All right, let's move down one more. The ACE tools as far as action, not words. Is there a club scorecard? Do you track your key indicators and reflect on them? Oftentimes at our board meeting, you sit down and say, okay, what are the projects we have on the table? Are these projects that we could continue, or are these projects you recommend we say, hey, we're done with this one. We 86 it, so to say. Because if it's not meeting a need or if no one wants to get involved in it, there's no reason to take care of it. But, how is your administrative task being managed? How is your newsletter? Are the dues being paid? All parts of being a club and everything in between. So helps track club activity, but also helps identify where you may need to make some changes. Hosting potential members. Is there a way to recruit and welcome new members, and how do you do that? One thing that we have moved towards in our club is that when we get someone that's interested in our club, 1 or 2 of us say, hey, you know what? Randy, let's go out and get a cup of coffee. Let's go sit, talk about the Kiwanis Club. What do you want to know? We do get people that reach out to us through Facebook and through our website, but we give them information ahead of time and said, here's the information. What would you like to know about us? We don't want to push them into joining, but if they have questions, they can get them answered. Kind of give them a little bit of education beforehand to see if it fits what they're looking to do. And those members have, said, this is great. They get to know us ahead of time and understand who's here. They may or may not know people already in the club, but it gives them a way to understand who we are and help us grow as an organization, as well as hosting potential members at an evening event. Is there something you can do in the evening, whether it's at one of the local restaurants or it's someone's home wants to do that? So, and then celebrating success. The best thing that we can do is make sure that people know how important they are and when they're doing something wonderful, because they're going to stay involved that way. What get recognized gets repeated. We always say that what gets measured always happens. As someone who works in some of those areas, some celebrations require more, but you're going to have an installation coming up. How can you wrap in installation and recognition of your other members along the way? So here's a way to talk about your 3 sheets of paper or SOPs. Our incoming president, Kwan Young, is very, very organized. And when he was planning his year, he always had 3 pieces of paper. And he used the papers, one had goals on it, one had his team directory, which was people that he needed to stay in regular contact with throughout the year, whether they're board members or lieutenant governors, if you have a club coach, committee chairs, anyone. And his 3rd piece of paper had a calendar on it. So things that you need to keep track of, whether it's a Google Calendar, or whether it's a planner, or whether it's notes in your phone. Everybody works differently. Some people like to have it all electronic. Some people like to have paper. If you're like me, I have both paper and electronic. But 3 sheets of paper that help you stay organized. Things that you're working on. What does your to-do list look like? But great opportunity. I mean, just a new way of organization. And I always say, you know what, if we can try and work whatever way works best for you, but here's another opportunity of a way that might work for your club. So one of the most important things that we do with our organization is, because we work with youth, is that protecting them is of utmost importance. It's important for you to familiarize yourself with Kiwanis International's youth protection guidelines, and share them with your club members, because it's important that for the safety of all of our youth and whoever our members engage with, is that we are providing them the protection that they need, whether it's in club meetings or at schools. Kiwanis International has policies and procedures. Youth protection, there is youth protection training. We actually have a youth protection representative in Kiwanis International, Jackie, is from the, I can't think of what club it is now, but Jackie is very helpful. There's training that's online. There's training that's available. She will actually Zoom into your club. She will actually show up at your club to help train you on your youth protection. Jackie Wickham is her name. She's from the Hillsdale Club, but she is there and she is very well versed in the youth protection guidelines and what's important for us, and why we do background checks when we're working with and why we have it on file, and then other important resources that are out there. But every club should do youth protection training every year. And like I said, there's online program already established that you can watch, or Jackie will be happy to come in and work with you, present it, or if her schedule permits, she'll actually join you at your club to do that. Because times are different, and there's no, it's important for us to maintain that. So again, let's talk a little bit about club structure. You've got your board of directors, and here's some of the responsibilities that they have. What you determine are the numbers on your board of director classes or program, is what works for you, but they're the ones that determine standings and set up budgets and club compliance. Many meet once a month just to talk about what's happening. A lot of times it's to work on their budgets or to review budgets or talk about what's happening as far as club activities. Board structure, president-elect, immediate past president, vice presidents, secretary, whatever you may have, directors, non-officer members. positions, there's other positions, and some of our international populations in Europe and Asia have positions that are required by their laws of their local jurisdictions, whether they're government representatives or whatever. But your board pretty much is your president, president-elect, immediate past president. If you have vice presidents, your treasurer, secretary, and the directors. And every club has a core group, but they may have more or less directors. President-elect typically is the person that's going to step in when you've served your year as president. It's very common nowadays for our presidents to serve 2 years. People find out that after 1 year, they feel like they finally know what their job is, and it's over. Some clubs have gone to 2-year positions for that regards, and we're seeing that more and more in a lot of our organizations. They're also on the board, they attend board meetings. A lot of their role is getting ready for their year as president or years as president. Some clubs, they run the committees. Some clubs, they do speakers, but it depends on what your club would like to do. And, there's guidelines, but there's also, it's really what works best for your club along the way. Club committees, financial review, is the only the one committee that's required by Kiwanis International. That's to make sure that your finances are up in order, and the money that comes in is being spent the right way, and that you're tracking that. Most clubs have membership or education or PR. These are some of the committees they may have. Our service leadership programs, for our K Kids or our Key Club or our Builders Club. But these are all committees that and your club might have the pancake breakfast committee. So it depends on what your club is. It also depends on the size of your club. You may not be able to have all those committees. It depends on what you want to do and how you divide them up as a club, but that's a decision that you and your board of officers can decide. And as I mentioned, you may have a pancake breakfast committee, or you may have the Ann Arbor Club, which has their thrift shop. I know they have a committee for their thrift shops. The committees can be a temporary committee for a 1-year project. It can be a committee that can be, for 2 or 3 years. Many members save on them. I think the best thing you want to do is make sure you don't just have a committee one, making sure that you have others that are involved. There may be people that bounce on and off those committees, but can you break those down? If you have a public relations or a marketing or membership committee, can they serve with other committees? So it's really something that your club can decide to work on along the way. A club president's planning conference. Great opportunity for you to sit down with your board sometime between now and October 1 and plan your year. And part of it may be just getting to know each other. But how do you want to do it? You can do it virtually, you can do it in person, you can do hybrid, but an opportunity for you to develop your goals for the year with your leadership team. What are the responsibilities? If you're going to change responsibilities from one officer to the other, how is that going to happen? What are you going to do for your club membership planning? But how can you and your board leave the club in Kiwanis in a better place than it currently was in? How much time do you have? What can you do? Who do you need on your team to help accomplishment? Who can you go recruit to join your club? Because you may need someone in the public relations or the media world. But an opportunity to have a club president's conference. I've been to many of them. It's always a great opportunity to sit down and really think about what the club is and what they want to do. Some clubs do them during their regular meeting. But how do we, get that information out ahead of time, and what do we do? The big thing you'll have coming up is your installation and induction. If you do a session in September or October to thank the outgoing officers, install your new club members, and have an opportunity for you to showcase the talents of your members and what you're doing, and invite your partners, invite those groups that you are doing work with to let them see what's happening, make them feel valued, invite them to bring their families. It can be a potluck, it can be a seated dinner, whatever you want to do. But the whole idea is to make sure that something is done. It's a great way to kick off your year. It's also a great way to thank those before you. And you can, it's common to invite the lieutenant governor It's common to invite the governor. It's common to invite the other clubs in your area. Anything that you can do to gather people together. It could be part of a fundraiser. There's ideas in the leadership guide for you. There's also installation text on how to install your members and things that you can say, so that you don't just get up there and feel like you're kind of lost at how you bring a new member in or welcome them to your club. But great opportunity to engage with the community and thank all your partners that you have had. Membership. There's a component of membership as well with building, nurturing, and retaining our members. Kiwanis International, this is a new initiative they have, Build, Nurture, Retain, is a way to, and it's not really a campaign, I guess it's really more the foundation of who we are as an operational function. There's no end date on this. Building new clubs, nurturing our clubs, retaining their members, making sure people want to come back for more. And there is a webpage on this as well. What's your role as an existing club? You can offer to be a sponsoring club. You can encourage members to serve as a club coach. You might say, hey, you know what? There's a community down the road that might be a great thing for a Kiwanis club. Here's a great opportunity to that. Help participate in opening new clubs. And I will tell you that we get a lot of members that say, oh, I can't recruit someone, or I don't know how to invite someone to go to join my club, but they will go to another community where, it's new to them. They don't know anybody, and they will do great inviting people to join them. And then they build that comfort factor to come back and say, you know what, I can go invite Lee to join my club because I know how to do it. So there's a lot of education and a lot of training that's provided in those areas. And it really is a great opportunity to meet new members and to meet other members from around the area. Of course, nurturing your club is always, a thing that we want to do to keep our clubs going. Attending charter anniversaries for other clubs or meetings, co-sponsoring a service project. That's one thing to say is like, can we do this? Can we build the bed project with another club in my area? Let's get involved. Interclub with them, which means that you would, a couple of members from your club would go visit their club. You might get members of their club to come visit your club. I always say that there's no better recognition than to steal another club's project. Steal what they're doing, work with what they're having. Networking, if the division has division council meetings, district conventions and conventions, great opportunity to nurture your club and to also engage. I invite our new members to go to those sessions because it's a great way that they may go, hey, you know what? I know those people. I know people in other areas, but it connects them with other individuals of like mind. And then against retention, retaining is important to what we do. We need to put the emphasis on making sure that, as we talked earlier about, that our members are engaged and they feel welcome in what they're doing, making projects that address the needs that we want to look at, that members enjoy doing. If you're doing a project that no one wants to do, there's a reason to look at that. How can we make our club better? How can we make the project we're doing better? Keeping things exciting and keeping stuff flowing, and engagement opportunities. Are they on committees? Do we have a brainstorming session? What's new that's out there? Who does someone know that they can connect us with that might be able to help us with something else? And of course, we talked about growth being a way that, additional members help us along the way to provide more services to our communities. Membership plan is in the club toolbox for you. It actually is a new program, a new resource that was just rolled out a couple of weeks ago, but a way for you to sit down and talk about the members that, every club's going to lose members. We know members are going to leave Kiwanis, whether it's by virtue of them moving to a new town, or their job changing and they can't make our schedule, or they go to the Kiwanis Club in the Sky. But there's ways to do that, but there's a whole set of guidelines and tools here that you can sit down with a couple of members of your club, or your board can do it and talk about what is our membership plan. So we know that membership is key, and honestly, no one ever wants to talk about membership because they're like, oh, I got to invite members. Well, that's how our organization has lasted for 100+ years. So we want to do that. And of course, that's available on the Kiwanis.org website as well. So there's a lot of information there. And then we will share that information throughout the year. The information will be shared throughout the year from the district office as well. So This is my contact information. I can be reached by cell phone, 517-256-7293. The best thing you can do for me is if you decide to text me is to put your name and your club name or say this is a Kiwanis call. My professional life, I manage a mascot, so I get a lot of calls for Sparty. And if I don't know the numbers, sometimes I get so many calls. Sometimes I just let it all go to voicemail. So if you say you're from a Kiwanis Club and I'm able to pick it up, chances are I'll pick it up as soon as I can. Again, my email, suepeterson@gmail.com. I'm always willing to answer email. Give me 48 hours to get back with you. Just because I do travel and I'm on the road a lot. A lot of times I just don't get to email. But I also will tell you if I answer your email at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't expect you to respond back because depending on my schedule, yeah, I never know where I'm going to be. Last week I was in Boston for the week. All right, here. So I have. Let me see if I can. I think I've taken our screen down, right? Oh no, I guess I haven't. I got too many things here going on. So let's see if I can shut this down. I will open it back up. And if anybody has any questions or you want to turn your cameras on, we can do that. I'm back.